I'm Leonard Riggs, and welcome to my podcast, From My Head to Your Ears. Today, I'm going to talk about my happy place. Now, my happy place is filled with movies and memories and music and people even, and pets, where I can go to feel better when I'm sad or very stressed. After 50-some years, my collection is quite large, but I really have certain tried and true things that never fail to make me feel better. And I probably already have talked about them often. Some things will forever live on in my happy place, even though they're no longer there. But I'm going to talk about the actual things that are in my happy place. So I'm going to give you a personal tour of that mental place in my heart and in my head that I can go to feel better. But I'm going to take a little break, and I'm going to think about this for a minute. And also, I rest my voice for just a second. I've got a little sinus issue, and right now I'm about to choke. So I'm going to take a break, and I'll be back in a few seconds. I'm Leonard Riggs, and welcome back to my podcast, From My Head to Your Ears, talking about my happy place. And I'm going to start off with the movies that make me happy. Of course, I have quite a few that I can watch over and over again. I would rather watch a movie I love over and over again than a crappy movie once. And the movies that I love that I have seen a billion times, I can watch them and see something new in them every time I watch them. Number one favorite movie a go-to movie, a movie that comes on, I cannot not watch it. Grease, of course. Olivia Newton-John, John Travolta, Stockard Channing, Didi Conn, Jeff Conaway, and the entire cast of that movie. They're all very special to me. First saw it in 1979 on cable, the home theater network, when I was 12. And I loved it. I had wanted to see it at the theater. Even though I wasn't exactly a ONJ fan then, I was a big fan of that movie. There's something about it that appealed to me. That's, of course, the 50s nostalgia was popular in the 70s with Happy Days, another one of my favorite TV series. And the music I really loved. I wasn't necessarily a fan of Olivia Newton-John then. As a matter of fact, I had a bigger crush on Didi Conn, who was so cute. And she was in a movie called You Light Up My Life, based on the Debbie Boone song. Well, I don't know if that was based on the Debbie Boone song, or I don't know which came first, the chicken or the egg there. But anyway, that's the movie she was in. And she was in a few TV shows, and that voice of hers, she's just adorable, those big brown eyes. And I had a crush on Kate Jackson previously, who also kind of had the same thing going on. Except for I found out later Kate isn't so nice, but that's okay. That's another story altogether. So Grease is probably one of those movies I cannot not watch. If it's on, I have to watch it. And it's really kind of hard. It's kind of been maybe tainted a little with Olivia's death, because there's a little bit of a tinge of sadness with that, especially at the end where she waves by. It sort of gets you in the gut. Another one of my favorites is Halloween, the original 1978 version with Jamie Lee Curtis and Donald Pleasance. Congratulations to Jamie Lee on winning her Oscar. That was the inspiration actually for this podcast today. Seeing her and several others, Brendan Fraser, Michelle Yeoh, win Oscars, and they're all stars of some of my favorite things. And then, of course, there was John Travolta's tearful tribute to Olivia. It actually inspired me to do this podcast. So I've stated before, inspiration comes and I got to do the podcast. So I was really glad to get the inspiration. Another favorite movie of mine is Foul Play with Chevy Chase and Goldie Hawn from 1978. 1978 has a lot of movies that I absolutely love. Foul Play is one of them. Chevy Chase is a detective. Goldie Hawn is a librarian who stumbles upon a assassination plot and gets in the middle of it. And Chevy Chase is a detective who responds to her phone calls or whatever. Anyway, I really love that movie, and the theme song by Barry Manilow is really great. Yeah, I will admit it. Barry is in my happy place as well. I love me some Barry Manilow. We'll cover more musicians later in this podcast. That's one of my favorite. Speaking of Goldie, Private Benjamin's another one. Hard to find on home video. I think you could probably get it on Amazon Prime or something, but Goldie's a favorite of mine, favorite actress. A lot of her movies would be in my happy place. Of course, Universal Monsters are all in my happy place. From Dracula, Frankenstein, The Bride of Frankenstein, The Wolfman, The Mummy, all those. In addition to the British versions of the Universal Monsters from Hammer Films, all the Dracula movies with Christopher Lee are further cemented in my favorites and in my happy place. It's kind of a funny thing that a scary movie would be in my happy place, but I love scary movies. Love them, love them, love them. And most people that know me know that. My favorite of the Hammer Dracula movies is probably the cheesiest, which is Dracula AD 1972, where he's in modern London, circa 1972. Not so modern anymore, but during the hippie movement, and just the music, and Carolyn Monroe and Stephanie Beacham plays Dr. Van Helsing, Peter Cushing's granddaughter, and just some of the framing of the shots with Stephanie Beacham's cleavage is just classic Hammer films. The cheesiness of some of the Hammer films make them great, I think. But they're also, Christopher Lee is 6'5", and very menacing as Dracula, much more so than Bela Lugosi, who's a classic Dracula. But Christopher Lee, if you saw him coming at you with those fangs and those red eyes, he's the master of my nightmares. The nightmares in my happy place. I'm kind of kooky, but well, if you know me, you know that. Hopefully that's a part of the appeal of me. If you like me, what else? Let's see. I'm kind of flying by the seat of my pants with these movies. Someday I'll do a podcast where I take notes. Right now, this podcast is done in my bed with my cat on my belly, who's currently clawing me lovingly. It's Kira. She's a sweetie. But let's see. I covered Foul Play. Wizard of Oz, obviously, is in my happy place forever and ever and ever. Probably the first movie I loved as a child. Again, The Wizard of Oz has an essence of a horror film. The Wicked Witch is certainly one of the most scary things I've ever seen. Scared me to death as a child, but I loved it. I loved being scared. Even though I'd wake up in the middle of the night and scream for my dad and he had to sleep with me. Or I'd have to crawl in bed with mom and dad, either or. But these movies just appealed to me, and I'd watch them over and over. Oh my God, that scared me. Let's do it again. But movies have always, truthfully, they've been my first love. Dr. Dolittle with Rex Harrison. I had a talking Dr. Dolittle doll when I was a kid, but I absolutely loved Dr. Dolittle. That was just a great movie, the original film from the late 60s. Along with What's Up, Doc, with Barbara Streisand and Ryan O'Neal. Another one of my absolute favorite movies. It's a kind of a Peter Bogdanovich's salute to the screwy comedies of the 1930s, and it's a lot of fast dialogue and clever dialogue and one-liners that you just can't forget. And if you have never seen What's Up, Doc, check it out. Barbara Streisand has never been lovelier than she was in that movie, too. She was absolutely beautiful. And her and Ryan O'Neal had a great amount of chemistry. And the great Madeline Kahn as Eunice. Oh, my God, she was hilarious. And Peter Bogdanovich did another movie with Ryan O'Neal, and that featured Madeline Kahn called Paper Moon, which was also a starring role for Ryan O'Neal's daughter, Tatum O'Neal, and that's another one of my favorites and my all-time happy place movies. Oh gosh, I have so many. Trying to pull them out of my head. All the Star Trek films except for Star Trek V, which was awful. It was a Shatner directed one that just is not in my happy place. It's kind of banished from there forever. But all the other Star Trek films I really, really love, and they're all in my happy place. Star Trek has its own room in my happy place, actually. I've loved Star Trek since I was 10 years old. But we'll talk about that more a little later in the podcast. I love Star Wars, obviously. And, Xanadu from Olivia Newton-John. One of the classically bad movies? I disagree. But it has a legend as being a really bad film. But it also has a legend of having really, really great music. And that it did. But I look at Xanadu as a 90-minute video project for Olivia Newton-John. Certainly not hard to look at. She was gorgeous in this film. It's absolutely wonderful to see her dance with Gene Kelly. Nothing puts a smile on my face, and a moment in film that is forever embedded in my happy place. When she sings Whenever You're Away From Me, dancing with Gene Kelly, singing with Gene Kelly. And the opening scene of Xanadu, where she dances with the muses to ELO's I'm Alive. Love ELO. I just love that movie. And it comes from one of my favorite years of my life, 1980. Let's see. What else I should have made notes. I love the Indiana Jones films as well. True Lies with Schwarzenegger and Jamie Lee Curtis. Jamie Lee's got a lot of movies in The Fog with Jamie Lee and her mother, Janet Leigh. And, I just noticed Jamie Lee. I wonder if Lee came from Janet Leigh's name. Spelled different, but I bet. That came out of nowhere. The Fog is from 1980, and it also has Adrienne Barbeau, who plays a DJ on a lighthouse with the sexiest voice you could ever imagine. And that kind of made me I would love to broadcast from a lighthouse. I certainly don't have a sexy voice, but I thought that was the coolest thing ever that she did that. And that kind of made me love radio more and made me want to do it more. Another movie that is kind of leading me in that direction earlier was Play Misty for Me with Clint Eastwood, who played a DJ in Carmel by the Sea, California, who had a stalker. Kind of preceded Fatal Attraction by quite a few years. Kind of the same feel as Fatal Attraction, although Clint Eastwood was a single guy who had a girlfriend as opposed to a married man with a family. But the ending was somewhat the same. Boy, I don't believe in punching women. I don't think it's proper or ever, well, I don't want to say ever the right thing to do, but man, Clint Eastwood goes all Clint Eastwood out on this woman at the end. In this movie, there is no holding back. If you've never seen Play Misty for Me, find it, watch it. It is a good movie. Ow! Kira is playing with my hand. She's getting a little rough. So I think I'm going to take a break and talk about some music that I love. And I'm going to... Ouch! She just hissed at me. Kira! Such disrespect. You are getting out of my happy place. I'll be right back. I'm Leonard Riggs, and welcome back to my podcast, From My Head to Your Ears. And in this segment, I'm talking about music. But before I do that, I want to mention that Superman the movie with Christopher Reeve and Margot Kidder is one of my all-time favorite happy place movies as well, from the magical year of 1978. I left out a lot of movies in that segment. Maybe one day I'll return to that, but those were the ones that came to my mind real quick. But musically, early on, I had a very pop music sensibility with Saturday morning cartoons. And not necessarily cartoons, but they reran the Monkees after their primetime run on Saturday morning. And the Monkees probably were one of my very first pop groups that I really loved. And my sister Lori, before she got married, moved away, had a record player, and she played a lot of soul music, Aretha Franklin and the Supremes. And I loved Aretha Franklin a lot. The song Respect was one of my favorites. I love the Sock It To Me chorus. My dad also, he liked Bing Crosby and Dean Martin. And he had a reel-to-reel tape recorder, and we recorded You Are My Sunshine. And that was one of the first songs that I loved as well. So there was a little bit of... And country music was very popular in the early 70s. And we really didn't have a radio. I don't know where I was exposed to this music. Mostly television. But my dad didn't like music. New music. He hated it. Soul Train played on TV on Channel 3. WSIL, and we would watch it before he got home from work, and then he'd make us turn that expletive off. So I had that kind of pop sensibility, pop rock, soul music sensibility early on. Loved the Fifth Dimensions, Let the Sunshine In, The Age of Aquarius, one of my early favorites, American Pie by Don McLean. So many songs early on that I really loved. It had to be kind of a really popular song for it to catch on with me. But it wasn't until the mid-70s where I started really, when we approached my teen years, I started to really love music. And I really liked the Bee Gees and Andy Gibb and, ABBA, stuff like that. I really didn't love ABBA until later. Actually, most recently, I've really enjoyed them. But Olivia Newton-John came along with Grease, and then in Xanadu made me a big Olivia Newton-John fan. Olivia doesn't have a room in my happy place. She has a whole apartment there. So I could mostly name my favorite recording artists. May give you an idea of who I am a little bit musically, but Billy Joel, Chicago, Olivia Newton-John, Diana Ross, I said. I like her a lot. The solo and with Supremes. Aretha Franklin. Um, who else? Geez, Bob Seger, the Little River Band. Oh gosh, it's hard to pull these out of your hat. Like I said, I need to make notes. So many of my favorites. Barry Manilow, believe it or not, I really like Barry Manilow. To me, I can like what I want, and without judgment, because music it has all sorts of healing powers, and it doesn't cause cancer to listen to music. You can listen to whatever you want and not feel guilty about it. I don't judge people based on their musical tastes. I'm not a big fan of Taylor Swift, but if you love Taylor Swift, wonderful. So love it. It's not hurting anybody. But all the way up to Kylie Minogue, Sheena Easton. I love Rick Astley. I love the whole Stock Aitken Waterman movement of the late 80s, the British influence there. Gosh, my head's spinning. There's so many. Chris Isaak is one of my favorites. Right now, Jason Mraz is one of my favorites. He's awesome. And Nora Jones. I have so many that are in my happy place that reside in there. A lot of music playing. Lisa Stansfield, who was a white soul singer who was very heavily influenced by Barry White. Loves Lisa Stansfield. So many. I should have wrote stuff down. Yeah. But that gives you an idea of my favorites. Can you tell I'm not feeling well? So, yeah, music is forever in my happy place, and I call it music therapy, where I put my headphones on and I just make a playlist of the random stuff that I like. And I always used to laugh when I used to go walking. I would make these long playlists. Because I'd walk up to 12 miles this is just a few years ago. I love how we can make these playlists off Apple or whatever, or Spotify, and just listen to what we want. I always used to joke that, you'd be surprised as to what I was listening to when I was walking. But it was always music that made me happy, or that made me walk faster. But music is definitely a huge part of my happy place. And I think always will be, although I don't really like how I don't understand the new music at all. Every now and then something great comes along, but it's getting to where it's few and far in between. So, but I've always got my old recordings, and I'm very happy. And I'm going to take a break, and we're going to talk about TV shows next. Sorry, I like I said, I wished I would have wrote stuff down. It's hard to pull stuff out of my head because there's just so much. I have a huge head with lots of things in it, and a happy place. I guess I'm a hoarder in my happy place as well in my house. I'll be right back. I'm Leonard Riggs, and welcome back to my podcast, From My Head to Your Ears. Now we're going to move on to television. And TV is probably the springboard for everything I like, because I was exposed to music, I was exposed to movies and TV shows, television news, everything right in the center of my living room. And it is where a lot of my happy place comes from. Early on, I was a big fan of Saturday morning cartoons, and I've talked about that before. Scooby-Doo and Super Friends, Hong Kong Phooey, the Archies, the Groovy Ghoulies, Sabrina the Teenage Witch. Loved a lot of Archie's cartoons. Hanna-Barbera was always good about putting cartoons out, like the Flintstones and that kind of stuff. I love the Flintstones. Of course, they were prime time before I was born, but they were on Saturday morning when I was a kid. And then they had Teenage Pebbles and Bam Bam and all those shows. I loved Saturday morning cartoons. And I wished I could just collect all of them and just rewatch them again because they were so much fun. They don't hold up so well, I don't think, but they're fun to look at. And just the sound of them brings back a lot of memories. I've told the story about how we had a black and white television and I would watch the cartoons at Sears on the color TVs and wish I had a color television. Just memories like that come to mind. Again, I like scary shows. We watched Dark Shadows, which was on the afternoon when I was very young, with Barnabas Collins as a vampire. Jonathan Frid played Barnabas Collins. I watched Cactus Pete and later Uncle Briggs on our local television, where they showed the Our Gang shows. They showed Charlie Chaplin shorts. And they showed Deputy Dog cartoons. And Cactus Pete left and Uncle Briggs Gordon, a local TV legend, took over. And he was a lot of fun. He had his little characters like Banana Man and Sally Safety. And in one segment, the Uncle Briggs show sent Sally Safety into outer space. And I've got a friend named Trucker Bill who does these little things that reminds me of Uncle Briggs, and he can't possibly know about that. I think Bill needs his own TV show for kids. So local television was a great place for entries into my happy place. Irv Copey would host horror films late at night, and I've mentioned him before. Great local TV legend as well. And I saw a lot of my favorite horror films on there, and he was just a great announcer and a really relaxed kind of guy, a nice man. Irv's in my happy place. He passed away a few years ago, but he lives on forever in my happy place and in my heart. Mr. Copey, great guy, from the little town of Royalton, Illinois, where my brother-in-law is police chief, believe it or not. So we watched a lot of, my dad liked detective shows, and I like detective shows. I could go on and on about that genre as well, because early on we liked Mannix and, Cannon, McMillan and Wife, Columbo, McCloud, Charlie's Angels, of course, forever live on in my happy place. My favorite angel was Kate Jackson, by the way, who I had a poster on my wall. I think she was the first girl that went on my wall, actually. Kind of had a thing for Susan St. James and McMillan and Wife, too, and Kate Jackson. Kind of similar people. And I said Dee Dee Conn from Grease, all dark-headed with pretty eyes. Cute girls. I love those shows. What else? My gosh, Starsky and Hutch. Barnaby Jones with Buddy Ebsen and Lee Merriweather. Loved that show. Barnaby Jones was played by Buddy Ebsen, as I said, who was in the Beverly Hillbillies. And the big thing about Barnaby was he liked to drink a tall glass of milk. And I have that show on the entire series on DVD and really enjoy watching them. A lot of future stars guest starred in those old detective TV shows. That's why they're so much fun to watch. A lot of times you see people in earlier or roles before they were famous. It's kind of cool. We watched the nighttime soap operas. Not Dallas, not so much, but I really loved Knots Landing, which replaced Barnaby Jones after it aired for so many years. I liked Heart to Heart and, Moonlighting with Bruce Willis and Sybil Shepherd. All-time favorite. I can watch those shows over and over again. The Facts of Life, The Brady Bunch, The Partridge Family, Gilligan's Island, which was in reruns when I was a kid. Loved Gilligan's Island. Of course, had a Saturday morning cartoon as well. So many shows, TVs. I could have a whole library of television in my happy place. I'm Leonard Riggs, and I'm going to wind this up because my voice is going. Unfortunately, I've had a hard time with my voice, so sorry for the stops and starts. I've had to stop and choke. But this has been one of the harder podcasts to get through because of that. I swear that my cats are really acting up. I need to go pay attention to them and to take care of my mom. So I'm going to get off here. But I would also like to say, finally, that the most important things in my happy place are the memories that I've spent with family and friends. For instance, the Cancun trip with my sister Loretta that I won for my company. We had such a great time, and that's a great memory to think about and smile about. Along with my trips to see Olivia Newton-John, first with my sister Connie in St. Louis. We had a great day, and that was a dream come true for me to see Olivia Newton-John live in person. She was great in concert, and the opening act was Michael Bublé, which that was a double treat because I had just literally purchased his album before I found out she was going to open for him. And then I saw Olivia again right before my 40th birthday in Columbia, Missouri, and me and my sister Kim went to that, and we had a great time and a lot of laughs, and it was just a fantastic time. And again, Olivia put on a great show, and that was the last time that I got to see Olivia Newton-John. Didn't get to meet her. That's always a regret of mine, but I actually was scared to meet her. Also in my happy place are a lot of my memories of my pets that I had. We had a duck named Chi-Chi, my dog Barney, our dog Gypsy, Tippy and Brownie, two little dogs we had, Sylvester the cat, Snowball the cat, Frisky the cat, Tiger the cat, and her kittens. So many animals that we had over the years. My sister's dog Socks, and all my cats. They're currently in my house, and they I think they get in my happy place because they love me. But I love coming home to them. My dad waits for me in heaven, and I miss my dad more than anything. And my mom will be there too. I take care of my mom. But heaven is just another part of the happy place. And I look forward to seeing all my loved ones someday. So I really need to straighten up and make sure I get to go there to see them. Because I am kind of a heathen. But I digress. I hope you have a happy place. It's a great thing to have. And I hope you have things that make you happy and make you smile and help you de-stress, because we live in a stressful world and happy places are a great thing to have. So I'm going to wind it up because my voice is about completely gone and I need to go take care of my kitty cats and my mom. Not in that order. My mom needs my attention immediately because it's time to get her some more coffee and to watch TV with her. Probably going to watch Macmillan and Wife a little bit. Or maybe Star Trek, or maybe... Did I mention Space 1999 in my favorite TV shows? I think I did. I might watch that tonight. I don't know. So until the next podcast, and hopefully my voice will be better, and I have some plans for future podcasts. I hope this one isn't too ridiculous. This was kind of I've had a hell of a time with this one because of my voice and my cats who have drove me nuts this afternoon. I love them. Did I mention that maybe there's a pet door in my happy place for my cats to run in and out of? Yeah, I think so. Because they're in my happy place usually, but sometimes they need to get out of my happy place so I can be happy. But anyway, until next time, I am Leonard Riggs. This definitely was from my head and into your ears, and I hope it made you smile. And hey, if my podcast can be in your happy place, that would be awesome. So thank you for listening, and I will talk at you later.